Alright, so this is video 7 of the Learning Python series, and the objective this time around is just to get a basic understanding of the list data structure and how to use it, just to understand some of its basic methods and such, so that if we see it around, we'll know what it means. So, list data type is constructed of primarily key and value pairs. So what this means is that for every key, which a key is a unique identifier for some data item, and for every key you'll have a value. So the list is enclosed in curly braces. So we could have something like, sorry, I said list, I meant dictionary. So we could have dictionary 1 is equal to curly braces, and then you're going to have some sort of unique identifier, say Bob, and you're going to use a colon to separate the key from the value, and then your value will be whatever, let's say 45. And then you're going to separate this from the next entry with a comma. So add a different entry, and that's a dictionary right there. So a dictionary could have, it could be empty, it could have many elements, it could have very few. One thing that's important to note is that it's unsequenced. So whereas we talked about lists and tuples in the past, those are sequence data types. The dictionary is unique in that it's a mapping data type because it maps each key to each value. So it's not the same as a sequence data type. Another thing to know is that it is mutable. So if, let me just do something here, I'll do print dictionary 1. So when we print that off, we see it there. It's presented in the same way. And so, unlike tuples, it is mutable. So I could go here, dictionary 1, and I can say square bracket, and I can refer to a key. And say Bob. And so I'm going to set this key value equal to 100. And so because it's mutable, you can do that kind of change. And this also shows how you can reference a particular entry in a dictionary using its key within your referencing your brackets. But if you try and do some sort of index idea where you do 0, meaning to refer to Bob because it's the first one, that doesn't actually change it. You can see here that actually added a new key, 0, with value 100. So when you're working with dictionaries, whenever you add something, whenever you try and reference something by an index, if that thing that you enter doesn't exist as a key, it will be, a new key will be created for it, storing that value. So that's the basics of what it looks like, how it works. And there's a variety of methods for that, so we're pretty much going to look at that. First of all, I'll keep talking about the structure. When it comes to keys, the key itself has to be something that is referenced, that is hashable. And basic way of saying that is that it can't be a mutable type, although there's more nuanced definitions there. So for example, if I make a list, I can't actually use this list as a key. So let's see this one right here. So I can't use this other object as a key. This is giving me an error, unhashable type list, because it's mutable. So let me try and use it. So you can actually use a tuple as a key because it's not mutable. That's a short story. So there's a variety of ways you can use this dictionary data structure. So you can pretty much start off looking at some methods for it. So update method takes in an iterable object and updates all the keys within the dictionary for that object. So as we saw here, you can just say, you can just update a dictionary manually with one line, such as this. Now we see that I just updated that one with this one line here. But if you had many different keys to update, what you could do is you could have a iterator. So let me just create one where you could say update list, and this is going to be a list with key value pairs. So I'm going to say markup is my first key, and the value I'll update it to is 1. And now make another pair, so a different couple. I'll say my key now is going to be Bill, and I'll change the value for that to 30, or actually just U2, just for the sake of seeing it. You can even add a new key here. So let me just say new, and add U3 to that. And so now if I do dictionary1 update and pass in the update list and print dictionary1, oh, there's no dot syntax here. Oops, I used a comma. I used a colon instead of a comma in a tuple. All right. And now you can see that essentially it's as if you did this single update, so something like this. Top equals U1. It's like you did that kind of format right there for each one of these key value pairs that's in the update list. So that's how you could use the update method to update many things at once. There's the clear method, so let me just use my window over here. I already have a dictionary here in the command window. So if I do dict, let me just first of all do a copy. So I'll make copy equals dictionary.copy. So now I can see my copy is the same thing. And if I do copy.clear, I didn't add the round bracket, so I just called the method. Copy.clear, that cleared it, now it's empty. So it's clear method, copy method like we just saw. Then there's the get method for the list. So what that does is it allows you to basically try and find a value within the dictionary, and if it's not there, it can return a specified value. So for example, I can, in the command window, see that this list has entry for key 2. So if I type in index 2 there, it returns the value, which is Z. So you might find yourself in a scenario where you have a large dictionary and you're calling some value, but you don't know if it's going to be in there. For example, if I just search dictionary and I just search 99, it gives me an error because there is no key in that dictionary that's 99. So you could use the get method to avoid the error. So you could say get and 99 and then an error, a value if it doesn't come. Now you see, because the 99 key didn't exist, it passed me back the string that I specified. So if I change that and let me just call on 4, now it returns B, which is the value for 4 instead of no key. So you could use this as a kind of failsafe just to call on the dictionary and get the item. So there's other methods which are really useful, which are these 3, .keys, .values, .items. So these are somewhat similar. So if I just do dict.keys, it returns a iterator, and it's a view object. And what it does is it's an iterator providing each one of the keys within the dictionary. So what a view object is, I have it over here. A view object are created by these 3 methods, and these provide a dynamic view of the dictionary contents. So you could think of these as a window allowing you to look into a dictionary without changing it. So for example, let me just assign that. So let me say key view is going to be a new variable, and it's going to contain the view object. So I'll say key view equals dictionary.keys, and now I can print that out. We see, okay, 2, 3, 4, 10, etc., etc., etc. Now let me add a new one. So a dictionary, and I'll just add 99, that key we didn't have before. So dictionary 99 is equal to new. And now, if I call key view again, we see that it actually has this 99 here. So that's what we mean when we say this view object is it's a dynamically updating object, but it's actually not mutable. So you see, if I could say key view, let me just say position 1 equals 0. We see it says this object does not support item assignment. So this object's non-mutable, you could just think of it as a window to look into your dictionary. So there's the key view. So key view equals dictionary.keys. Oh, I just mistypoed that, but that's fine. And then there's the value view. So you can do key value view equals dictionary.values. Now we see the same thing. And once again, if I were to change this, it would dynamically be changing. And the last one is .items. So whereas .keys and .values gives the keys and values separately, individually, apart from each other, the .items will return the whole thing. So for example, let's say item view equals dictionary.items. And if I just print this out, we see now that it has these tuples in a list containing the pair of every key and value. So next, we have the pop method. So that's very similar to what we saw previously. I believe it was with lists, where the pop method will return the final element in the dictionary, and it will actually remove it from the dictionary at the same time. So for example, I have my dictionary here, and it has all these values, and if I just say dictionary.pop, and I can enter a key. The .pop method needs a key, so I can say pop99, and that returned new, because that was the value for the key value pair with key 99. And now if I say get, now if I use the get method, I try and find what's a key 99, pop a failsafe. Now it says there's no key because we actually just removed that one. If I show my dictionary, the 99 is not there anymore. So that's what the pop method will do. And in addition to that, there's the pop item. So the pop item method will not take any arguments, and it's just going to pop out the last one that was in the dictionary. Like we said, the dictionary isn't sequenced. It's not you can't reference something by an index because it's not sequenced, because things aren't numbered in order. But the pop item will remove the last item in the dictionary, the last one that was entered. So for example, I could say, for example, you could have a dictionary with the keys all just being sequential, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you could have it as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But no matter what way the numbers are, even though the keys are numbers, that actually has nothing to do with the sequence. So the pop item method just removes the last one you entered. And then looking at the next one, we have the set default. So what set default does is that it allows you to just create a new key and assign a value to it if that key doesn't exist. So if the key exists, it returns a value. So it's kind of like a failsafe for not overwriting your data. So I have my dictionary here, and if I just do dictionary, if I have some sort of loop in my program or whatever, and I say dictionary, and then I put a key value, and then I put an equals new value, this can create a scenario where I overwrite my data. See, before it too had the letter Z in it, but now it has a new value. So if you don't want to overwrite your data, you can use the set default. So dictionary.set default. Now I'll look at 2, and I'll say you see here I set the default. So the argument here was a number 2, so that's the key that we're going to look for. And the idea is that if there was no key 2, this would set the key to change value. The value would become change value. But because the key did exist, it returns what the value is, which is new value. So let me just do this again with something less. I'll say set default C 0. Oops. I needed to add, I need to make sure that's an explicit string. So because C didn't exist, it returned 0, which was the value we specified, and it created that new key within the dictionary. So now if I run that again, with a different value, let's say instead of 0, I'll do 22. Now it returns 0 still. And if we print out the dictionary, that 0 did not change over there. And that's because this is only going to overwrite. This is only going to enter the value you specify if that key didn't already exist. So you can use this one to prevent yourself from overwriting your data. And one of the last methods we'll look at is the from keys method. So from keys just allows you to create an empty dictionary or initialize a dictionary with a bunch of keys. So whereas we saw the update item, the update method, as we saw over here, the update method updates a number of key and value pairs. It requires that you enter key and value pairs. So what you can do with the from keys method is the following. You can do you can create a list of keys. So I'll say less equals, and I'll say character I for I in range 100 to 150 and stepping by 2. So if we just print that, then we'll see it. And what we can do is, let's say, a new dictionary equals a dictionary dot from keys, and now pass in that iterator, that list, and then we'll print the new dictionary. And now what we'll see is that we have this list, D, F, H, J, etc. This long list of characters, and it created a dictionary where each one of those characters is a key and the value is none. So the from keys can essentially just be used to initialize a dictionary. And you'll just have to notice that you actually apply this method to the dictionary object, the dictionary class. The dictionary is a class and you apply it to the class. So you wouldn't apply this to some, I mean, you could apply this to some random dictionary, but it can just be, you don't need an actual dictionary object to apply it, you just apply it to the class itself. And the last thing I'll mention is that the reversed function can be used on all iterables. So let's say we could print reversed list. So you can use the reverse list on I didn't mean for that to happen. We could say let me just cast this iterator. The reversed function creates an iterable, so I pass it into a list, and now we'll actually see the function. So you can see here the list has been reversed. So that's just a general function you can use on an iterable. But when it comes to dictionaries, if you use the reverse function, it will return only the keys of the key value pairs instead of the whole date item. So here you can see if my list contained, let's just say, let me comment that out, and if my list contained the following, the character I, and then let's just say I squared. Actually, we'll just do this. We'll just cast the number I into a string. So we're just modifying the list here. So you can see the list was printed out forwards and it was printed out backwards. So that's what the reverse function did. And it just prints out the entire element's contents from the list. But if you do this with a dictionary, it's not the same. So let me just comment this out so we don't have to see that list. So what we have is this dictionary, and it has all these none values. And if I actually print the reverse dictionary, let's see if this works. So it says the dictionary object is not reversible. That's strange. Well, that's really strange because I have it right here on Python documentation that it is reversible. So you can see that here on the Python documentation. Dictionaries, whoa, where'd it go? Dictionaries and dictionary views are reversible. Reversed dictionary. So I'm not sure why that's not working, but in any case, here's the documentation page, so you can see that it would work. So in any case, that's the overview for a list. You can see I'm still learning, as always. Hope the video might be helpful. Support me on Patreon if you like. Links in the description to everything relevant. Take care.